Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu salam, rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Tara Khalid. I'd like to enter a program here at Sharjah Media Corporation, doing good, and we hope and pray by Allah's mercy and grace that all of the believers out there, whatever your circumstance may be, that your heart is at ease and full with the goodness that only Allah can give, and that which comes from you emanates into your society in such a way that people can recognize the truth. And part and parcel of our responsibility as Muslims is a big challenge sometimes. And that is under all circumstances. If we look at the Prophet ﷺ, we'll see that under all circumstances, the way that he dealt with people was predictable in the sense that he was always encouraging people to righteousness, regardless of who they were, whatever their persuasion may be. Even his biggest enemies, who were idol worshipers, and some of them Jews, some of them Christians, some of them what you would call atheists today, and other persuasions, but majority were idol worshipers, if we talk about his own people. And many of them, their status in their tribe became an encouragement for them to attack him. But it didn't change his way of relating with them or relating with the people, because he had a different understanding. He had a much deeper understanding, that understanding that is only given by Allah. And that is to understand the true condition that we're facing, the reality of the unseen. He had the reality of the unseen. And that is a test and a trial for us. Believing in the unseen, believing in the ultimate power of Allah, believing that there is an eternity that we're working for, that we cannot see. And facing the challenges of and whispering of Satan to discourage us from working towards that in a positive manner, and to become complacent and busy with the things of this world as a distraction from that ultimate goal, so that we lose sight of the ultimate goal and we busy ourselves with this temporary existence. And we use the excuse of striving in this temporary existence and achieving in it and seeking our ultimate aims in it to a degree that we become obsessed by it. And this is a challenge that I also would like to make for many of our so-called inspirational, motivational speakers. I've listened to probably most of the ones, at least English-speaking, popular motivation speakers that you see on YouTube and wherever they might be. And I have one major criticism of most of them. And I'm not saying negative about any of them. I'm just saying one criticism. And that criticism is that most of them, that I've seen, and I won't name them, they're from different countries. Their speech is very inspiring, and they themselves have done well for themselves, and they help a lot of people. But there's one thing. They're encouraging people to aspire to reach their true potential only in this world. That, of course, is an accomplishment and achievement, but it falls short of the ultimate aim and reality. If you've done everything, for example, let's take a guy who is really out of it. The guy's a drug addict, he's an alcoholic, whatever, he's just He's had all kinds of difficulties in his life. Let's say he's none of those negative things. He's just a man who's had a very difficult life. It's been one challenge after another in his life. He's had sicknesses. There are many different people who have different types of conditions that they have faced and overcome these challenges to do progressive things in their lives. And of course, this is very positive and recommendable. But I'll ask you that question. Suppose you did all of these things. You were a challenged person in a lot of ways, and you overcame all of these obstacles, and then you died. Allah gave you a chance to overcome these obstacles and to put your life on a positive track, and then you die. Then what? Is it over? All the good that you've done, is it finished? For you. We're not talking about other people. For you. You have to ask yourself that. So the point I'm making is that what I see of the motivational speakers is they haven't understood the continuation of doing good, of sacrificing, of struggling, of being steadfast, of enduring, and all of those things that they encourage people to do in this life, of working 110% for your goal and your aspirations, of wanting to achieve more than you want to breathe, as one of them uses as an example. How bad do you want to breathe? Then similarly, you should want the same kind of effort to be successful. And I agree with that. But we need to ask ourselves, what is the real success? That's the aim. What is the real success? Should I focus my efforts on achieving and striving for this worldly pleasure and success only? Or should it be parallel? You need to ask yourself that question. Where is your value? Let's look at what we can see and what we cannot see. The things that we strive for in this world, we can see. If we achieve it, if we attain it, we see it. If we do or we don't, we see it. The things in the hereafter, we don't physically see it, but we believe it. So whatever I'm doing on a parallel path, even though I may not see that, I believe that it is going to benefit me, that it is there for me, that I'm sending ahead of me. And this is what will be essentially of the utmost importance. If I neglect this and I achieve everything in this world, I've lost. I've lost. Why? Simply, this world is not important to Allah. The world and all it contains is not worth the wing of one mosquito to Allah. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, when there is no longer, more or less, when there is no longer one person on this earth saying, La ilaha illallah, there's no God worthy of worship but Allah, Allah will destroy it. A 2-year-old can say this with conviction. So we can say to Allah, a 2-year-old child is more valuable than this whole world and what it contains. When there is no longer someone reciting this good word, it will be destroyed. So what will be the condition of the person who doesn't have that reality, but he or she maximizes their effort for this worldly gain only? On the flip side of that, and again, I don't want to attack anyone specifically, there are a number of people out here who are hustlers. Yeah, I'm going to say it. They're hustlers. They're hustling people in the name of God. And they've always been around. But I see, subhanAllah, today, these guys, they're living in castles. A'udhu billah. There were those in my time as a youngster, I remember them, and I remember their names and their conditions. They were basically cult leaders. They basically, some of them all had people worshiping them. They said they were calling people to God or calling people to Jesus or whatever that might be. There were those who were calling from that side, and there were those who were calling the people simply to them. and the combinations thereof. These are the people who are calling people to the fire, regardless of what they say or what they put out there. This is very far away from the belief in God. And the emptiness that people are feeling today, the sense of godlessness that people are feeling today, is being promoted by these kinds of people. And people out there, you need to wake up. Turn to the one and only God, away from the men and what they're calling you to. They're calling you to their own benefit, that which benefits them in this world. And if you don't believe it, look at it. And some people are very proud. Oh, look at our leader. He is like this, he's like this, like this. Whatever his term might be, how is he identified? Look at him. And some of them, subhanAllah, when you see them, it is very clear that they are pimps in many different languages and many different forms. Globally, we find these people, they just use terminology to twist the hearts of people. They are silver-tongued devils. So beware of someone. And now, of course, today, also, don't let me forget this. There are a lot of women out there also. So this is not just talk about men. There are a lot of women out there today who also are calling people to themselves or something or someone other than the one and only God. Now, people says, well, brother, what does that got to do with doing good? It has everything to do with what is good, because the people are calling you to darkness. That's right. They're calling you to darkness, to ignorance, and to that what benefits them in what form, shape, or whatever it might be. Even if that person himself, from a physical point of view, may seem the most humble of people. He may have a simple dress. I've seen people who walk around naked, as an example. So they're showing that they're not attached to the world, but they're totally dependent on other people. Or they just wear a loincloth, and that's all. I've seen this. They exist as far as I know today. And there are people who think that they are holy, that they are righteous. Allah doesn't call for this. This is nothing connected to what Allah is calling the people to. This doesn't make you closer to Allah. Allah doesn't require you to be naked or to be clothless. He doesn't require that. He doesn't ask you to do this. This doesn't make you holy. No, not at all. Extremism, no. Allah calls us to the middle path. Allah calls us to be obedient to his commandments, to do the things that are functional in our society, to do the things that will benefit the people in our society, to be patient and endure the difficulties and circumstances, the challenges that, and even the horror, which is not easy, the horror of what we're seeing in today's world. It is incumbent upon us to endure this, to call the people to righteousness, and those who are in tyranny, to call them to the belief in Allah before Allah punishes them. And surely, surely they will receive their punishment. Those who think that they're excluded, they only become fools of Satan and tools. They will not be excluded. So we should believe ultimately that righteousness, truth and righteousness will eventually prevail, regardless of what we're seeing today or what comes tomorrow, that it'll prevail. And those among the believers who stand up and face, as has happened historically, whatever set of circumstances that may be in their time, and are steadfast in calling the people to the oneness of Allah, obeying the commandments of Allah, that they are the ones who Allah has promised paradise. They're the ones who Allah has promised ease in this life and hereafter, regardless of what appears to people externally. So we encourage everyone who's out there to join the good. Whatever you may believe, call the people to good and righteousness. Stand up yourself for truth and righteousness. Find out clearly and distinctly, regardless of what you've been taught, what is really truth and righteousness. Implement it in your life. Our societies today are failing globally. That's right, globally. We are in the last days. It is very clear. The scholars say this, and the scholars say among the signs of the last days, the minor signs are almost complete. When the last of the minor signs are completed and the first of the major signs come, the time will run very rapidly until the day of judgment. No one knows the day. These people saying it's going to be this year, this month. This is foolishness. This is folly. Again, these are ignorant people. Unfortunately, they have followers. But this is foolishness. No one knows the time, but the time is coming. Beware. The signs are there. We've done programs for several years about the signs of the day of judgment. Learn about them. Be aware of them. Prepare now by doing good. Stay focused on doing good. My name is Tariq Khalid. I'd like to thank you for joining us here at Sharjah Media Corporation on doing good, and may Allah guide all of you to this path of truth and righteousness. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.